Ardina, what's wrong?
Maddie, I don't know when your next video is coming out.
Well, good thing it's coming out right now.
Good thing I have my post notifications on.
Hi. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I have a new video coming for you guys this week, and this week pretty much we're gonna do a little dive into how I got to where I am today as a thrower and as a person. And I'm gonna take you guys through like the few years that I got into throwing and the things that kind of shaped me as a person. So starting off, I kind of grew up around sports. So I started swimming when I was 5 years old, and then I swam all the way up to my freshman year in high school. I played literally almost every sport that you could imagine. I did soccer, basketball, tennis, lacrosse, field hockey, gymnastics, dance, swimming, and then I also ran. I did like 5Ks and stuff. So literally almost every sport, you name it, I probably did it. So I was just a very athletic kid. After my 5th grade year in elementary school, we moved to a new school district, and I started 6th grade at a new school, and this school had an intermediate school. So at the school district that I went to elementary school in, it was 1 through 5 elementary, 6 through 8 middle, and then 9 through 12 is high school. But at this new school district, 5th and 6th grade were intermediate school. So it was new to me, it was a new concept, but I got used to it pretty quick. So then I would say that 6th grade is kind of where I initially started my track story, even though track didn't start until 7th grade when you were in middle school. So the math teacher that I had my 6th grade year knew that I swam, and he came up to me the one day, he was like, "You're probably really strong from swimming, next year you should try throwing for track." So I kind of I didn't really know how to take it. I just remember being like, okay, yeah, I'll try it. And then I kind of just went on with my life until 7th grade came around, because I didn't really know what throwing was. I mean, I knew what track was. I knew there were throwing events, but I didn't really know specifically what they were. So then kind of just took it. I was like, okay, put it in the back of my head and just moved on. So then 7th grade was the year where track officially started. First year where I actually did track. And the first day of track in 7th grade, we had like a little field day. And pretty much what this field day is you had to try every event. If you signed up for track in middle school in 7th grade, at the school you had to try every single event. Something from distance, something from sprints, something from jumps, something from throws. I think that's all of them. Anyways. So, I ran the 800, the 100, did long jump, high jump, tried discus and shot put. Now, discus came around for me to try it, and I loved it. It was so much fun, and I was actually pretty good at it too. I mean, I wasn't coming out and throwing 150 feet because 1, I don't throw 150 feet yet now, and 2, this was the first time I'd ever pick up a disc. Shot put was a little bit more difficult for me because yes, I was strong. I did have that strength from swimming, but it was strength to a certain extent because I grew really quickly when I was younger. I was like 5'5" in 5th grade. I grew and then I just stopped. So I grew really fast, but I was also really, really skinny from how much swimming I was doing. So I had specific strength. So shot put, picking up an 8-pound metal ball and throwing it was kind of difficult for me. So then for that 7th grade season, I ended up doing discus, long jump, 4x4, 100, and 200. And ironically, I made the county meet, but I made the county meet in long jump and 4x4. Wait, not long jump, just 4x4, but not throwing. I didn't even come close to qualifying for throwing. So I made it for 4x4, but not throwing. Obviously, I don't run anymore now, so I think that's kind of a little funny story to tell. So then we get into 8th grade. In 8th grade, I kind of like to call it a pivotal year for me as a person and as a thrower. It was a hard year, but we got through it and it made me who I am today. So in 8th grade, I had this coach reach out to me. His name was Coach Scott Crawl, and I don't know if you guys can see or not, but I have a tattoo for him on my forearm, on my throwing arm, and I started working with him. He reached out to my mom and he was like, listen, I see tremendous potential in your daughter and I would love to have the opportunity to work extra with her. So obviously my mom said yes because I wanted to. I was looking really forward to this. And I had an exceptional bond with him, like all of the time that we worked together. Unfortunately, I only knew him for a few months before he passed away. And him passing away was probably one of the hardest things that happened to me in my life. Not only did it affect me, as a person because I had such a bond with him, but I quit throwing for about like 6 months after that happened. I used to walk to school at this time, and I changed my walking path to school just so I wouldn't have to look at the throwing pit because of how much pain it caused me losing him. Like I said, I did not pick up a disc for 6 months, couldn't even think about it. I was just a mess. So then my history teacher, who is also my homeroom teacher, who is also the school throwing coach, reached out to me and he asked my mom, he was like, listen, I know how much your daughter loves this sport, even though she just started, and I also see that great potential in her, and I was wondering if I could help her get back into it. And my mom said yes, because even though it was a lot of pain for me, she knew that I would want to get back at it. So I started working with him a little bit extra. And then it gets even more crazy because I transferred to a private school this year. It was just a better fit for me academically at the time. But the only bad thing was the school did not have a track team. It was so small that we had 9 kids in my grade. So really, really tiny. And so we only had basketball, volleyball, and soccer. And obviously I didn't do any of those sports. I did track and swimming. Swimming I was fine because I was on a club team, so I swam there, but then track, I had to figure it out on my own essentially. So I ended up only doing about 4 meets that season because I had to find my own meets, and the only meets that I could enter were like every once in a while there would be an invitational that I could go into. So I ended up qualifying for counties, and counties was rough. During warm-ups, I didn't have a uniform because, I wasn't at a school that had a track team. I was on my own, and essentially the officials told me I couldn't compete because I didn't have a uniform. And I went up to my coach and I told him that, and my coach talked to him. Don't know what he said, probably should not know what he said, but I ended up being able to throw. But I was just really nervous at this meet. It was my first big meet. All of my throws were horrible. I was sitting in almost last place and I just could not pull myself together. So I came out for my 5th throw, you got 6, because I made finals, and I walked down. I just went on a little walk until my next throw. And as I'm walking back up, like I'm approaching the pit again, I felt this like sense of calmness and like confidence come over me. And I honestly think it was Coach Crawl coming to me and being like, listen, like you got this, like I'm here with you. And so then I kind of went into the circle, I took a deep breath, and that last throw that I had won me the county championship meet my 8th grade year after doing almost that whole season by myself. That's also the summer in 2022 that I started working at Garage Strength, and that's where things really started to get hyped up for track. Brings us to 9th grade year. I started on varsity as a freshman for a track and field team. I had a 110-foot PR this year. I won counties as a freshman, made districts as a freshman. I placed 8th, and I missed states by 2 feet, I think it was. And then I also made New Balance Nationals, and I got 4th there after being seeded almost last. So there's a funny story behind that too. I said I was training at Garage at the time, and pretty much I went to my coach one day and I was like, I'm scared. I'm really scared to go to this nationals. And he said, okay, we're gonna have a meet. And this meet's not gonna count, but it is. And so he took one of the Olympic throwers that trains at my gym and put her in this meet. So I'm throwing about 110 feet at the time. She's throwing maybe 210 feet at the time. So the way throwing works is it goes worst to best. So I was throwing first, and her name's Yame. She was throwing last. So Yame threw her first throw after I threw mine. And I came up, and so she threw about 200 some feet, and I come in, I throw like 100 feet. So that was kind of the whole point of the meet, because I left the meet knowing that I'm gonna go up to nationals and none of these girls are gonna throw 200 feet. None of these girls are even gonna throw 150 feet. So that really just helped me calm my nerves and be like, it's not that bad. Like, I can do this. I'm up there with these girls. And that's how I got 4th at my first nationals meet. Then we go to 10th grade year, and 10th grade year I think was another pivotal year for me, mainly in track rather than like as a person, but it's still pretty important. So this is like the year that I really started to feel pressure. And if anyone were to ask me the hardest year of your athletic career, I guess, would be the year after you're successful. Like your first year of success, the year after that would be your hardest year, because that you come off of that first year of success and you're putting pressure on yourself to be great again. You have all of like the press watching you to write articles, videos, posts, whatever. And then you also have fans watching you, and you're just like, everyone needs me to do great, and I also need to do great for myself. So you'll notice that pressure comes in a lot during the story. I started on varsity again. This year I had a PR of 127 feet. This is where the pressure comes in. I got 3rd at counties, and I should have won. And when I say I should have won, statistically and factually, I should have won. Districts, I got 4th, pulled myself together there, and at states, pulled myself together to get 7th place and win my first state medal. Then we have Nike Outdoor Nationals, and there's that pressure again. So for me, pressure, I could not handle it at all. I would like have any slight competition and I would not know what to do. I went into counties with the mindset of, I won this as a freshman, I have to win it as a sophomore. I knew I could win it as a sophomore, but I had already seen the aftermath of the meet and I wasn't in the present. And that's kind of the same thing that happened at Outdoor Nationals for Nike, because I realistically could have won Nike Nationals. I could have. But I had that pressure of like seeing the like future rather than being in the present. So those are like 2 stories where pressure just really got to me, and I just like was constantly getting nervous and I was not able to perform under pressure. So then we saw some solutions, and one day my parents came to me and they were like, listen, I think that a sports psychologist would be very beneficial to you. And so I started working with sports psychologists. Hi, Savannah, if you're watching this. I'm excited to talk to you soon. But she has helped me learn how to use pressure. See pressure as a friend. She is making me read this book. It's called The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. And essentially, the book talks about the concept of there's obstacles in life. Obstacles are unavoidable in anything that you do, but instead of seeing them as an obstacle, you need to see how you can use that obstacle to help you move past it. He uses the example, it was in Greece. A king put a boulder at the entrance of the city, and this boulder was unmovable. And he just watched as people came to the boulder and left. They didn't leave the city for the day, but then one guy came up to the boulder and he used the boulder essentially to physically move himself faster out of the city. So I like to use that as a reminder that there's obstacles, whether it's a heavy weight at the gym, whether it's people at meets that I'm throwing against, and they are going to make me better. I'm throwing against people that are better than me so I can become better. I'm lifting these heavy weights so I can become stronger to become better in the pit. And that kind of brings me to where I am today as a person. Going into my junior year, I'm training harder than ever. I'm going 3 practices a day, if not more, lifting like crazy, but then also taking care of my body and my mental health as well, because your mental strength is just as important as your physical strength, if not even more important. 10th grade year, I was not small at all. Like, I lacked nothing in the physical part, of throwing. It was all in my head. And now going into junior year, I'm building off of that physical strength, but I'm also moving forward with the mental strength as well. So that way this junior year I could come out and be the best that I can be. And that's kind of a little bit about my story, not in too much depth. I hope I didn't talk for too long, because this is the second take that we filmed on this, and yesterday's take was 45 minutes. And so we're gonna hope that it wasn't 45 minutes this time. But yeah, that's my story. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe, like, and click the notification bell to get notified every time I post on YouTube, which is every Friday. And also go follow my Instagram to see more updated and frequent content. That is also the same as my YouTube it's at Henne.throws. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys next week. Yay! I don't know how to stop it. Dab.